Hello, this is Mr. White. We're on Chapter 9, Lesson 2, Evidence of Evolution. My Planet Diary. Moving on up. In 2004, researchers on Ellesmere Island, Nunavut in the Canadian Arctic, found a fossil that provides information about when fish first came onto land. The fossil, called Tiktaalik, is 375 million years old. Tiktaalik has characteristics of both fish and four-legged animals. Like other fish, it has fins. However, the fins have interior bones that help push the animal up into the shallow waters close to the shore to find food. The discovery of Tiktaalik has provided new fossil evidence to help scientists understand the relationship between marine vertebrates and land vertebrates. What evidence supports evolution? Since Darwin's time, scientists have found a great deal of evidence that supports the theory of evolution. Fossils, patterns of early development, similar body structures, and similarities in DNA and protein structures all provide evidence that organisms have changed over time. Fossils. By examining fossils, scientists can infer the structures of ancient organisms. Fossils show that, in many cases, organisms that lived in the past were very different from organisms alive today. The millions of fossils that scientists have collected are called the fossil record. The fossil record provides clues about how and when new species evolved and how organisms are related. Similarities in early development. Scientists also infer evolutionary relationships by comparing the early development of different organisms. For example, the organisms in Figure 1 look similar during the early stage of development. All four organisms have a tail. They also have a row of tiny slits along their throats. The similarities suggest that these vertebrate species are related and share a common ancestor. Similarities in body structure. An organism's body structure is its basic body plan, which in vertebrates includes how its bones are arranged. Fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals all have an internal skeleton with a backbone. This similarity provides evidence that these animal groups all evolved from a common ancestor. Similar structures that related species have inherited from a common ancestor are known as homologous structures. In Figure 2, you can see some examples of homologous structures. These include a bird's wing, a dolphin's flipper, and a dog's tail. Sometimes fossils show structures that are homologous with structures in living species. For example, scientists have recently found fossils of ancient whale-like creatures. The fossils show that the ancestors of today's whales had legs and walked on land. This evidence supports other evidence that whales and other vertebrates share a common ancestor that had a skeleton with a backbone. Similarities in DNA and protein structure. Why do some species have similar body structures and development patterns? Scientists infer that the species inherited many of the same genes from a common ancestor. Recall that genes are segments of DNA. Scientists compare the sequence of nitrogen bases in the DNA of different species to infer how closely related the two species are. The more similar the DNA sequences, the more closely related the species are. The DNA bases along a gene specify what type of protein will be produced. Therefore, scientists can also compare the order of amino acids in a protein to see how closely related the two species are. In most cases, evidence from DNA and protein structure has confirmed conclusions based on fossils, embryos, and body structure. For example, DNA comparisons show that dogs are more similar to wolves than to coyotes. Scientists have already reached this conclusion based on similarities in the structure and development of these three species.